Hello and welcome back to another Walking Dead video, and today I will be talking about why I think The Walking Dead Season 10 Episode 22, Here's Negan, is the best bottle episode of the show. Bottle episodes in The Walking Dead have a history of not really mixing well, and some bottle episodes are even considered some of the worst of the show. However, Here's Negan is different, and it is easily one of the best episodes of The Walking Dead, even with the extra issues it has on top of being a bottle episode. The episode is also a COVID bonus episode too. What made Here's Negan work so well for me was definitely the simplicity of the story, the timing in the season, the characters, and the chemistry of those characters in this episode. The story of Here's Negan is a simple one, and it is about Negan dealing with the fallout of Maggie returning and having to go into exile for his safety. While alone, he seeks out his old bat Lucille, and sadly she breaks. Negan then has to face his demons, and we get flashbacks to see what happened to Negan at the start of the outbreak, and what happened to his wife. The episode ends with Negan choosing to return to Alexandria, and to face Maggie, no longer hiding from his past. This episode is a character episode, and it really dives into Negan's backstory and tells us all we need to know without having to over-explain everything. The episode deals with Negan at his lowest point, and it's definitely one of the most emotional episodes in The Walking Dead with the death of Lucille. What makes this story so good is it works into the overall plot with setting up the Maggie and Negan conflict for the next season, and the flashbacks in this episode actually have a purpose and not just there. The issues with a lot of bottle episodes is the events of the episode story do not impact and bleed through to the next ones, and the episodes become pointless and skippable. But Here's Negan is different. It slightly defeats the purpose of a bottle episode, as the events of this episode impact the coming episodes and changes the way Negan acts, and the episode dives deeper into the Negan's character and changes the way that we, the audience, look at him. I feel this episode can change the opinion of any Negan hater to at least sympathise and feel sorry for him, as this episode really humanises Negan, as it shows us how broken he was by the death of his wife and why he did the things he did. This episode, because it has this impact, it really makes it an unskippable episode and a crucial episode to watch to properly understand the character of Negan. And this is really what bottle episodes should be. They should be very much character focused and have an impact on the show. However, problem with The Walking Dead, a lot of bottle episodes are just there to extend the season's run and just there to have a B or C plot extended to a whole episode, where it could have really been 10 minutes of another episode is made to 40 minutes. Here's Negan is none of that, and that's really why it stands out so much. Moving on to timing, and the timing of this episode is also really important, as Here's Negan is the last episode of Season 10, and I think that works in its favour. This is because a lot of times The Walking Dead did bottle episodes normally in the middle of the season, and that can really ruin the flow of the season's story arc and annoy a lot of fans that want to find out what happens next. However, with this episode being at the end of the season and then after the Whisperer arc is done, it does not really get in the way of anything interesting, and it really helps keep with the flow of the season. And I think it's a very important thing for bottle episodes to be smartly placed throughout a season, because the timing can really ruin someone's opinion of a episode. Look at episode 3 or 4 of season 6 with the Morgan episode. That episode is regarded as quite bad because of where it was placed. If that was at the start of the season or somewhere after No Way Out, maybe episode 9, something like that, you would have a more interesting episode, and that would be regarded as a better episode. Here's Negan was just very lucky with where it was placed, and it really helps people like this episode more, and it really gives the episode room to breathe and to tell a story without having to thread in a second plot to try and connect it to the main story arc. Now, we have to talk about the characters and chemistry, as I think this is definitely the strongest factor of Here's Negan. And I definitely believe the COVID restrictions helped make this episode better, as it helped keep the cast small and only focused on the characters that are needed, such as Negan and Lucille. And the casting for Lucille was absolutely perfect. They used Jeffrey D. Morgan's real-life wife to play her, so the chemistry between the two is the best chemistry I've ever seen in the show, and it really makes you feel and care for these characters. An issue of a lot of bottle episodes is that they focus on the wrong characters and they don't really have much story to tell with them. But this episode is one of the few where they focus on a character that actually is interesting and can carry a whole episode by themselves. Jeffrey Dean Morgan really gives it his all in this episode, and like I say, this is definitely one of his best performances of Negan on The Walking Dead. And those are my reasons why for Here's Negan really standing out as my favourite bottle episode. It has a very interesting story that really dives into Negan and really changes the way Negan goes forwards after this episode and really changes the way we look at Negan. The timing, I know that sounds quite weird, but timing is crucial for at least me and maybe some of you guys. The timing is crucial because if this came out earlier in the season, you wouldn't care as much. You would want to be like, where's Beta, where's Alpha? I want to see the ending of the Whisper of War. But because where it came out, you go into this episode not wanting to find out what's next. You go into this episode being like, okay, I'm only going to be focusing on Negan. And that really helps get you in the right frame of mind to properly enjoy this episode, and your first viewing is the most important viewing. And that's why some great episodes, because they came out in a certain point of time, people look back at them and be like, well, that wasn't very good, and never bother to rewatch it. So you always get some episodes getting left behind and forgotten because of where they are. But Here's Negan came out at the right time for me, and the characters who they're focused on, the chemistry is absolutely amazing in this episode. And I'm so happy they gave Negan an episode just for him, because they always give dumb characters an episode just for them. Like Terra, we don't care about Terra, or some other characters. It's really sucky what The Walking Dead does a lot of the time, but sometimes they hit gold, and they did it with this episode. So please tell me down below, what is your favourite bottle episode? And if you want any more Walking Dead content, don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with all things Walking Dead. This is it for me today, so goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you in my next video.